Hey, flockers. Hopefully we're back. I had a little bit of drop off of YouTube there. It looked like I was streaming, but it had broken off. When I resumed, I was not getting any comments or likes or anything. So I was assuming that I had lost everybody. Hopefully you're seeing me on the live. Hopefully you're able to rejoin. Yeah, it's super frustrating when you start having technology problems. So if you're joining, give me a thumbs up, toss me a like, toss me a comment, let me know I'm here. Azebu, thank you, thank you. So I am back. Apologies for the technical glitch there. Not quite sure what had happened. I suddenly realized that Max was chewing by himself and I was talking by myself. So let's give this one a try. I mean, I am fairly new to the live streaming, but you know, you learn something every time, and apparently glitches are part of the live stream. So Max, while I've been gone, he has been working on his box, as you can see. You know, it's much more interesting than the blocks that are inside, although I'm sure he will get back to working on the blocks. But he's definitely having a grand time. And yes, you can hear Tico in the background, ringing a bell, dripping, clicking, having some fun. But I'm really, really glad to be back here. Yes, the box is always, always better. So apologies for the glitch, but we are back. Oops, there we go. Yeah. So I've just grabbed my second phone here, and I'm just going to toss up a couple of quick comments to let people know that we are back up, and you know, let people know that we are live now. Go to YouTube. We had to restart. All right, so just tossed up one comment there on Twitter. Hopefully some people are going to be able to re-find us. Yes, very, very crunchy. Max absolutely loves playing with his boxes. It's something he can do for hours and hours and hours. So, what you doing there, buddy? What you doing? So, I mean, isn't this typical? A box full of toys, and the box is the most exciting thing. I'm not quite sure what quite this game is, but it seems to involve both the block and the box, and trying to get both in his beak at the same time. So this is super, super cool to watch. I've not seen him do this before, but the one thing with Max, he's always creating new games, coming up with new ideas. I mean, life is never boring with Max around. I can tell you that much. Sometimes I'd like it to be a little bit more boring, but that's okay. Let's go in for a bit of a close-up. But initially with that block, he'd made that hole in the cardboard, and he seemed to be trying to insert the block into the hole and testing the size. Then he just tossed the block on the floor. I mean, blocks on the floor seem to be what the day is going to be for Max. But, you know, hey, it's a fun game. Now it's block and cardboard at the same time. Now he does do something similar inside of his cage. Sometimes he'll chew on a toy and some newsprint at the same time while he's trying to shred his newsprint. And it just becomes a bit of a bigger game. You done with that one, bud? Yes, Asevu. Max is making a post box. Now he's got a piece of cardboard that he'd ripped up, and he had that with the block, almost making a bit of a sandwich there. Hey, Max. There you go. Whoops. Do you want that? There you go. Oh, you didn't want that. You dropped it. Just quit interrupting your construction or deconstruction. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, yeah, cockatoo toes. Always fun. There we go. Close up of some cockatoo toes. I'll say, Vu, we clip wings ourselves. So Max is a very integral part of we clip toes ourselves. We actually don't clip the wings. Max is fully flighted right now. He does need a bit of a shower, but he was not in the mood earlier this week. So we clip the nails ourselves, and all I do to clip the nails is I just reach over and I pick up a toe, and I hold the toe with one hand, hold the clipper with the other hand, and ask Max if it's okay if I clip. And usually he's okay with it. Some days it's like, not now, I have important bird nests. So I just let him determine how he wants his nails to be clipped. And usually I don't do it all the time. I'll notice that they're getting a little bit long, and I'll go after it, and I'll just go for a little bit of a nibble. And then a couple of days later, a bit more of a nibble. Reason I do that rather than being aggressive with the nails is twofold. Number one, it's possible to hit the quick. And if you hit the quick, you're going to have the toe bleeding, and you're going to have a rather upset cockatoo. And you're going to lose all of the trust that you have in clipping the nails. And number two, Max knows that I just nibble at the end, and he's quite okay with that as I'm going after his toes. And he just says, yeah, that's fine. We can play the toe game. And he just relaxes. So it's kind of cool. So basically, to avoid hitting the quick and to avoid upsetting him with the process. And he's quite okay with that. I think I'm going to get myself a tripod that I can mount the phone on for the live streams and some of the other videos, and see if I can capture that. I do have a big camera and a tripod for that, but can't mount the cell phone onto that. But I think I might make a point of trying to pick up some equipment this week, just because we're doing the live streams now weekly. We're getting a lot of people viewing it. Initially, it was a little bit of a test to see if there was interest, but there definitely seems to be interest. So it's something we'll be doing more often and regularly, and it'll definitely make my life easier if I don't have to hold a phone for an hour, and it'll make it easier to get some interesting footage of Max. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you remember the video that I put up of how to put on and take off a harness, where I was showing off how good Max is about letting me put on the harness, how easy it is to put on, and easy, relative term, easy, of course, after you've gotten used to it and after the bird's figured out what you are trying to do, wrapping him in this weird piece of equipment. I mean, he's figured it out. But I took that one just with the phone propped up vertical on a table, being held up by books. So not optimum, but I think definitely picking up a tripod for the phone will make my life a lot easier and will make for better video for everyone out there. So I'll make a point of that. So Max right now, he's beginning to relax a little bit. He's finished with that game. So I'm going to ask him about his next game. Max, would you like to play with a twiddle? A twiddle top? Maybe not. However, now it's back to the game of Blox. So, okay, so we've got a fair number of people here. Hi, Rhonda. Glad that you stopped in. Yes, Asebu, if you clip a nail too far, there is going to be blood out everywhere, and you're going to have a very, very upset bird. Asebu says you are very lucky he lets you do it, and luck is part of it, absolutely. But a big part of it too is the fact that we've established trust. Max has learned how to trust me, and I've learned how to trust Max. Because trust me, when you're trying to clip a bird's toe, and the bird is not interested in having his toe clipped, you could easily be hurt. You could easily be chomped on. You could easily be bleeding. And I mean, it's trust on both parts. He has to trust I'm not going to hurt him, and I have to trust that I'm going to have 10 fingers when I am finished. Yeah, he's pretty relaxed and happy. Always, always messy. I mean, this is the way of the bird. You do not have a bird and expect that you're going to have a neat and tidy house. You have a bird, you expect that there's going to be bird down everywhere, toys strewn everywhere, toy parts strewn everywhere. Yeah, let's put some of those there. Yeah, there you go. Oh, you're being so helpful, Max. Grab myself a handful so I can play at the same time. I seem to be much more interested in the ones closer to him and the ones I'm handing him. Hey, you hit me with that one, buddy. Let's put him back in the box. Okay. Lots on the floor here. Is that a fun game, Max? You're looking kind of tired. No, you're going to stay there, bud. Oh, yeah. Time for a quick scratch. He's being really good about his head right now. He's got lots of new feathers coming in. So he's letting me take care of those. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that one wasn't ready, was it? If you'd let me look at what I'm doing, it'd be easier. But yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, look at all those new feathers. I mean, isn't that just gorgeous? And these feathers, I mean, his feathers are super, super, super soft. Okay, let's just shift position a little bit here. Bless the mess. Absolutely. I mean, if you have birds, you know you're going to have a mess. It's going to be part and parcel of your house and your environment. I build a stack tower. Yeah, those are fun toys. Yeah, the idea behind the blocks was giving him something to chew on because he's been really enjoying pine blocks lately. He prefers chewing on soft wood, and I'd been cutting down a bunch of 2x4s, and I got a really, really good deal on a box of blocks from my friends over at Parrot Trends, and I needed to place an order anyhow. So, oops, sorry. I thought I'd pick up a box of blocks from them. They're smaller than Max usually plays with, but Max decided that the game with these blocks is not to chew on them. I mean, he's chewed up a few of them, but right now it is to toss and deconstruct towers and, have all sorts of fun. And quite honestly, toys are there to be played with. I'm not going to be the one to tell Max how to play with toys. He gets to pick and choose a little bit. Yeah, Rhonda, he's looking for a certain one, and maybe it's not there. Yeah, now we're climbing around on the chair a little bit. We should actually just lean back when he does that. So Maria's talking a little bit in the chat about her new flock member. She's expecting him fairly soon and says that she's going to call today to get a bit more information. Yeah, Sivu, Max is a little bit tired. I think he is ready for a nap. There's been a lot of excitement around the house this week. And what happened is earlier this week, we had one day where Max was just in a mood. I'm at work, I'm upstairs, and he was screaming and he was squawking and he was just totally, he was in a bad mood and I could not figure out why. Offered him something, he didn't want it, and I had a really busy day at work. And I kept popping downstairs. I'm working from home right now, which is great. But, I popped downstairs to check what was going on, and he was just grouchy. And, we all have off days. And a little bit later on in the evening, I was making dinner and offered him some. He wasn't really that interested in it. And I took a closer look at his cage. I'm thinking, have you been eating anything, buddy? You've thrown food everywhere. I haven't changed out the paper yet. So I offered him a few tasty treats, even made him eggy. And he just turned up his beak at that. And at this point, I'm getting a little bit concerned, doing sort of look and thinking to myself, okay, well, Max is DNA sexed male, but DNA sexing's had problems before. So I actually picked up Mr. Grumpy and Tired and very carefully felt him out to just check and see if, maybe Max was Maxine and laying an egg. Nope, nothing there. But that was, just sort of the behavior was sort of reminding me a little bit of what people described when they've discovered that their male bird is not as male as expected. So, checked on that, nothing. Played with him for a little bit, offered him some more treats. He was not interested. I even handed him a handful of sunny seeds. And that sunflower seeds are not that good for them. They're good in moderation. They're fatty. They're really junk food. So it's giving your bird a handful of sunflower seeds is the equivalent of giving a young child a tub full of icing and a spoon. Max actually was quite interested in the sunflower seeds and ate a whole bunch. Normally, I'm not thrilled with this, but given that he didn't look like he'd been eating a lot that day, I sort of figured, I'm happy to see that he is eating something. And, okay, fine, junk food it is. And I was thinking to myself that maybe the next morning I was going to be calling and making an appointment for the vet. And, went to bed that evening thinking that. Next morning got up and Max looked at me when I got up nice and early in the morning and, hey, lady, I'm hungry. Give me some food. Right back to his normal self. So it's like, okay, fair enough. Kept an eye on him. And later, towards, as the day went on, he started getting a little bit antsy and pissed off again. Couldn't figure out why. Went out to the mailbox, and I noticed that one of the fields near us had a lot of deep utility work being done. They're going to be building another complex similar to this one on it. And the big heavy equipment had been out there. And Max had probably been listening to them digging deep in the ground, the disturbance of the ground, which, they can hear a lot more than we can hear. And he was not, obviously not too happy about it. So I actually figured it out. Initially, I thought that maybe it was some of the smoke from the fires that was blowing in that was setting Max a little bit off. But it was not the smoke. I think it was the construction. Maybe it was a combination of both. So that evening we took a walk over. Max listened to the coyotes howling. And coyotes around here, not unusual. Usually you hear them howling well after dark. They were out before, it was beginning to get a little bit, dusk was beginning to fall out there. But they were out early. They were howling. They were chasing the ducks over at the pond. The cows were not in the field, but I mean, that field's going to be construction as well. But Max got a chance to take a look at the big mounds of dirt and everything that happened to his field. Got kind of nervous when he saw the coyotes. Actually tried to climb through the phone when I was not moving fast enough for him. You can see on the video he was getting a little bit nervous, but that's okay. I was with him. I was keeping a close eye on him. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to have a bird in a situation where he's a little bit nervous, as long as he's perfectly safe and he can be reassured. But this just gives him the tolerance to understand that, life is not always perfectly comfortable. And I can hang out through the discomfort. My human will keep me safe. And we'll be fine. So, we did check out the coyotes, then we headed in, and he was much, much happier after we got inside. Much happier after we got back to the house. And I think, dusk, it's not a usual time for him to be out either. It looks a little bit odd, feels a little bit odd. Max, what do you want to play with next? Do you want to play Jingle Ball? Jingle Ball. So yeah, Max is perfectly healthy and happy. Although he seems to have lost his jingle ball. Let me see, where did that roll? Can I get it? I can get it, buddy. Can you reach your ball? Can you get the ball? There you go. Good bird. There goes the ball. It's on the floor again. Oh, one more time. There you go. Last time, if you throw it on the floor, it's going to stay on the floor. No, it rolled too far away. All right, buddy. So there was Jingle Ball. Apparently I wasn't thinking. I brought over some other types of blocks as well. Would you like a little square block? Alphabet block? Alphabet block? Well, that one was kind of icky. Apparently I need to go through your toys and make sure they're all clean. There you go. Alphabet blocks. There's another one right here. There's another toy. Another baby building toy to play with. A little bit earlier, I saw a question asking if we ever gave him Lego, and absolutely, he does occasionally play with Lego. And I'm actually just looking here in the little toy box I've got. I've got a little piece of it here for him right now. He loves to play with this. I mean, it's beakable. It's fun texture to play with. He also has learned that if he pinches it the wrong way in his beak, it will fly like some tiddlywinks. Tico loves Lego as well, and what Tico does with Lego is Tico will actually take a Lego structure apart, and that's the way that he plays with his Lego. Lego go? Where'd your piece of Lego go, buddy? I don't see it anymore. Is there another? Do I have another piece of Lego down here, maybe? If I reach? Oh. Now, speaking of toys everywhere. There's a couple pieces of Lego. Let's see if I can assemble them with one hand. Sometimes this works better than others. There we go. Max, would you like some Legos? So I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but that was Tico. Tico, I think, has noticed that Max is playing with some Lego, and he might want some himself. And he'll definitely get some Lego to play with after the live stream. Just sort of set up so I've just got the one here. Hi, hello. Ringing his bell, definitely looking for a little bit of attention. But the funniest thing I thought about that, I don't know if you picked up on this, you might have to go back and listen to this again, but he very clearly said, "Your Grayness." And that's one of the names that Tico will use for himself. And Tico's usually not that chatty, so it's a bit of a treat to listen to him chatting in the background. And He's definitely looking at some of the attention that Max is getting. After this, it'll be the Tico show, and Tico will get a bunch of attention too. But it was, it's definitely kind of fun just to listen to him there in the background. So Maria says that she's created an Instagram page and has almost 5 subscribers. Maria, that is just the beginning. We actually had something very exciting happen this week. We turned 50,000 flockers on Instagram, which I think is just absolutely amazing. I mean, 50,000 people watching Max. Just watching Max, I mean, well, Max and Tico and sometimes TCal, but it's definitely quite astonishing to realize just how well loved Max is really across the world. So that was a really, really cool milestone. We'll get there with the rest of the social media, and we'll get there with YouTube as well eventually. But I mean, it'll grow as it grows. Oops, I'm sorry, did I pull? It will grow as it grows. I mean, just one subscriber at a time, and we'll just keep putting up content because it's fun. I mean, it definitely is fun to have a chance to play with Max and see what we can do for content and, watch him interact with his world, because he definitely has some ideas on how he should interact with the world. And yeah. There you go. There you go. You just put it down. Doesn't even get a fling. Oh, it fell in your box. Is that okay, buddy? Yeah. So that happened. So that was pretty cool. But Maria, you tag me, you send me a message so I know how to find you. And I do check all of my messages on InstaFlock. And I do try to respond to everybody. And despite having 50,000 followers, if somebody's just given me a like or a thumbs up or a smile to a story, might not respond to that one. But if there's a message, I usually respond. So I will definitely keep an eye out for Maria. Yeah, Tico is being a little bit sharp squeak right now, but that's okay. That's okay. So Aussie Boo asks, does Max have some foraging toys? Max is actually not great at foraging. You can actually keep food from him by hiding it in toys sometimes. What we tend to do for foraging for Max is sometimes he'll have eggs and I'll put it in a cup or something, fold over the cup. He has to tear that apart. I've tried a couple of foraging toys. It's actually about time to cycle some toys out. Tico got a really exciting foraging toy. I picked up some new toys when I picked up the box of Blox, and I'm actually going to do a YouTube video just sort of talking about the unboxing and some of the goodies that we picked up for the flock. And every bird is different how they like it. So Tico's great about puzzles. Max, not so much. He's really not that interested in puzzles, which kind of disappointing, but Tico just loves them. So I picked up a round spinning forager for Tico, and I've not posted up about it yet because it had a sticker on it. So I removed the sticker. There was a lot of sticker glue left, and I mean, this was a large area sticker, the entire face of it, and it's not something you'd leave on because it was glossy and it was obscuring the clear acrylics. So then I soaked it. And that didn't do any good. So then I soaked it in vinegar and just soap and water. And that did a little bit of good. And then I scrubbed at it, and I scrubbed it some more. And I'm trying not to scratch the acrylic, so I don't want to just grab the steel wool and go to town. But I'm beginning to think that I might just have to do that. I grabbed a razor knife and tried to scrape at it. I did some more scrubbing. I finally went to the point of grabbing acetone, so nail polish remover, well ventilated, to see if I could remove some of the sticky residue, because I figured the sticker's not good for the birds, and got a little bit more of it off, but there's still a little bit sticky there. So I've washed it about 50 times since. It's gone through the dishwasher. I'm definitely going to that extent, but I still have a little bit of scrubbing to do before hopefully I can give that to Tico. And I'm going to recycle one of Tico's toys out to Max, which is a bit of a cup forager. It's a very simple one. Last time I had it in his cage, Max didn't quite clue into it, but he's been watching Tico play with it for a while. So I'm hoping monkey see, monkey do, or in this case, birdie see, birdie do. And I'm hoping that he will have a little bit more luck with it. But he's not really a big fan of things hanging over his head. He's not a big fan of toys in his cage. Max almost gets scared by having a lot of hanging toys in his cage. Tico loves to have the forest of toys. So Max gets a few toys in his cage. He gets a lot of foot toys because he seems to prefer those. He likes playing on the bottom of his cage, always has. He loves to shred paper there, shred cardboard. But I mean cardboard. Huh. There you go, buddy. Speaking of shredding cardboard. Yeah, he forgot that the cardboard existed, I think. And it's so nice of the box to hold cardboard for Max. And he is off. So we do some forging with Max, but not a lot, just because he's not quite as bright and he doesn't quite understand the game. Tico much prefers playing foraging games, identifying things. I mean, Tico's got some exciting news. He doesn't know it yet, but it's plum season. So I went to the grocery store late this week. I saw a few people with pumpkins on social media, and I commented, gee, I wish that they were out in Calgary. They're not here yet. And found out that yes, indeed, pumpkins had arrived in Calgary. A couple of stores do have them. And I went grocery shopping Thursday night and picked up a couple of large pumpkins. Now, when I say large pumpkins, I mean 20-pound carving pumpkins. So I brought those home, and I do like to give them a good wash before Tico gets them. And he still had a squash that he was working on, so he's got to finish the squash first. But what I'll do for Tico is I will give him the entire pumpkin, just in the bottom of his cage. And he will have fun with that entire pumpkin. It'll take him a couple of days to shred the entire thing, peel it. But you have never seen an African gray as happy as Tico with a pumpkin. And, giving him a 20-pound carving pumpkin, I mean, the bird's just tiny compared to this pumpkin. But Tico's a pumpkin king. He does not care. Bring on the pumpkin. He absolutely loves it. When I first started introducing, he was a little bit shy about it, and I'd have to put a couple of nicks and maybe bury a few sunflower seeds in the pumpkin, give him a chance to forage for it, and then he'd go after it. But he's definitely changed his mind about that and really eager about pumpkins. That's okay, Max. I know you pooped on a toy. I'll wash it later. Yeah. That's why you keep me around, so I can wash your toys for you. What else? So we've got some other stuff that happened this week. We got something really cool in the mail. And just excuse my camera bobbling as I reach for it. We got some pins, and these ones are lapel pins, and I'm just going to see here if I can arrange these so I can hold them. There we go. We got those 3 lapel pins, and I'm just going to try and do a bit of a close-up. We got an umbrella cockatoo, an African gray, and a sulfur-crested cockatoo. And those ones are from our friends over at Bird Pins. So we got that this week. And, I absolutely love getting surprises in the mail. Max has already licked one of the cockatoos, so he knows it's his. And he seems to think he'd like to chew on these right now. But we're not going to chew on them, Max. But since we turned 50,000 on Instagram, we want to do something kind of special. So we're going to have some giveaway contests. And Bird Pins has actually volunteered to sponsor one of those contests. So you can actually get some pins yourself, either by entering the contest and winning the contest. I should specify that part. And that'll be coming out here in the next day or so. Or you can pick them up if you're interested. Birdpins.com. Use the code max15, and that will get you a discount on some of those pins. But I mean, they really, really are adorable, and it is kind of cool to get some bird related pins. So those were kind of fun. Those came in the mail today or this week. And I mean, it's super, super exciting to get things like that. Isn't it, Max? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fluffa, fluffa. So we do have a couple of other things we're going to be doing giveaways with as well. And those are going to be coming out, and I will cross post onto YouTube community and Twitter and Facebeak, because everybody is part of the flock. And I think everybody should have an opportunity to enter and an opportunity to participate. So I will be doing some cross-posting just to let people know about the contest. But the majority of the contest is going to happen on InstaFlock. So just be aware of that. Yeah, Tico is definitely in a little bit of alarm mode right now. He's looking for a bit of attention. The other fun thing that we did this week is Jennifer from My Reading Pets put on a couple of webinars talking about some of what she does with pet training and really teaching birds how to read. And she talked a lot about Moonlight, who was a hyacinth macaw that really, really loved reading. And, it was super cool to hear about his story. And she was talking about training and some of how she approaches things. Now, obviously, I've had birds for, and of course, saying these, I've had Tico 24 years. So, I mean, I've just dated myself quite a bit by saying that. But that's okay. So we've done a lot of training, and Tico does understand colors and he understands shapes. And one game that I will play with Tico, and I tend to use some of the baby rings when I'm playing with Tico, and he learned this 20 years ago. Ooh, that was loud. But Tico learned how to identify shapes and colors. So I could hold up a shape and a color and ask him. So I'd ask him for the red triangle, and I could be holding a yellow triangle and a red triangle, and he could pick the red triangle. I could ask for the yellow circle and be holding a yellow circle and a yellow square, and he'd pick the yellow circle. I could I could mix and match the colors. And a lot of this, I looked at what Dr. Pepperberg was doing for her research, and I thought that's just absolutely amazing what the Alex Foundation has done for bird training and African grade cognition. And Tico's quite smart. So I always tried to hold up the rings or the shapes in a way that Tico could not, I was not inadvertently looking at one or giving him a cue which one I wanted him to pick. So I would deliberately sort of grab, hold them up, let him pick, then I'd look and tell him if he was correct. One day I did this, can't quite remember what shapes, but I grabbed myself a red triangle and a yellow circle. And I asked him for the red circle. And he sort of looked, and he looked at one hand, he looked at the other hand, he glared at me, he looked again, and I was deliberately not looking at what I was holding. And I did a very good job of not looking at what I was holding. And at the time, he had a flat top cage and it had a tray on it. I could not see what was on top of the tray. He was standing on top of his cage. He looked from one, looked to the other, and he just made a sound of disgust, which for him is a sound of a nose blowing. Turned his back, took 2 steps onto his cage. I lowered the shades, trying to figure out, I said, what's going on? You don't want to play? And then that red triangle got whipped at me. I mean, this bird just flung this at me. And then he looked at me as if to say, you tried to trick me. Well, then I looked what I had in my hand, and sure enough, I had a red circle and a yellow triangle. And so no matter what he didn't have the right answer. He couldn't pick that red triangle until he went and found one himself. And I thought to myself that day, it was like, he actually understands this game. He actually apparently understands it better than I do. And he figured out that there was a solution. He was not willing to pick triangle. He was not willing to pick red. because he knew that those two words in combination described something. And I mean, we started off just by identifying shapes, circle, square, triangle. Then we started doing colors. Then we introduced that. So I've been doing that with him for many, many years. Hasn't played that game in a while, but it's definitely been one of his favorite games. So that was definitely a lot of fun. But I'm always after new ideas on how to train. And one thing that Jennifer over at My Reading Pets does is she's actually does read to her pets, and it's very, very interactive. It looks super, super cool, and it's something I'm going to try with my flock. Actually, tried with Tico, just with Baby Book yesterday. And, with Tico, he's not super keen on the camera, so I have to get a little bit sneaky. But we tried that. I tried that with him last night, and he actually was really, really engaged, and he thought that this was a great game. So stand by. We'll be doing a little bit more of that, and we'll be posting some videos, because I think it's a game Max is going to like as well when he's not snoozing. And speaking of Max, it looks like he is beginning to fall asleep a little bit. And we've been online for almost an hour. So Max, I'm going to ask, do you want a buck for me? A buck, buck, buck? Joy was online. She wanted to hear you buck. Max, can you buck? Buck, buck, buck. Buck, 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 buck. Yes, Vu. I will try and get Tico playing the shape and color game. As I said, I think I'm going to pick up a tripod, and maybe when I do that, I can sneak a camera in without Tico being aware that it's being pointed at him. So Max, I'd really like to hear a balk. So I'm actually going to try and see if I can trick Max into balking. And I'm going to get kind of clever here. I may have actually outsmarted myself. And I'm going to play him a quick video of him balking and see if I can get him to balk to himself. And if I hop here, I've got a lot of videos here with Max. And Max, can you balk, balk, balk? You want to listen to yourself balking? Can you balk, balk, balk? Max, can you balk, balk, balk? You balk, balk, balk? Well, we did get a short balk out of you. Anyhow, flockers, thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope everybody has an absolutely wonderful week. Max, whatever. All right. Guys, have a great week, and thank you for joining us.